or learn about from a close family member or friend. So it's often, people that, um, it's not just people that create trauma in our lives. It can be events. It's an external response to events or people. But yes, um, we first started learning about trauma during the 19th century, circa World War II. The
Mm-hmm.
National Library of Medicine says that, um, you know, at the DSM-3 introduced PTSD in 1980 as an anxiety disorder. So that trauma often evolves into PTSD. So that's like the final boss of trauma.
Mm.
So yeah. So I know I'm just right now I'm just dropping the science on the trauma, and I know y'all were coming from a more puritanical aspect of looking at trauma, but I'll incorporate that as well. It's like I think the aforementioned comment from I think it was Bolo. You are what you think you are, something like that. Am I
You
paraphrasing
are,
right?
yeah, I forgot how he says it. Uh,
Yeah.
How you feel affects how you see.
right.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It's funny, there's often a lot of people consider science and the Bible in diametric opposition, but it's totally not true. Science confirms the Bible. Everything in the Bible is science.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the early philosophers, Rene Descartes, he says, um, I, I, "I think, therefore I am," which is, just that coincides with what God God said in that verse. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of um, continuity between what the Bible says and the scientific realm says. But anyway, back on trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So having a complete understanding of trauma is um, extremely important going into your future relationships. I mean, on this aspect of trauma, there's just so much to cover. It's because psychology is a huge science,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding the brain is so complicated. But let me just go over some of what we know about trauma in relationships. So,
Mm-hmm.
trauma happens in the amygdala. So the amygdala is, you know, um, the part of the brain that basically records memory and has, you know, it gives our emotional responses. The basolateral nucleus. Everybody remember this. Basolateral basolateral nucleus is the important part of the brain that's affected by trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It involves your process of emotions and your fear responses. So basolateral nucleus, that's part of your amygdala. So when we incur trauma, that is what is the area of the amygdala that's mostly affected. Now, I'll go ahead and pause in case anybody wanted to add any more commentary or question or even dissenting comments.
I appreciate you so much, Brandon. I know you do extensive
Absolutely.
research.
Okay, I think that
Yeah,
would be
I do.
suggested
I
to
mean,
have
every
the
time
call.
I like to respect your show and your program by providing the most accurate and the most in-depth research,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, more, I think it's, having an accurate and a complete understanding of the phenomena you're talking about is going to be more copacetic towards, the actual healing. Like I said, healing the brain takes science and God. So
Yeah.
if I can, whatever I can do to support that endeavor that you uh, undertake I think is, you know,
Mm-hmm.
important, basically.
Yes. And
Okay,
thank
I
you
think
so much for giving us the idea of the topic. Before you go, Riaz, I wanted to address this comment my sister made. People often don't feel they have the time to address their trauma because they have a lot of other things to deal with. I feel that too. Yeah, because
Yeah,
when
that's
you
right.
said a lot of times the goal is to overcome it, and a lot of people, I guess, it's easier to avoid it, or at least the enemy wants it to appear that way because you really suffer more when you don't deal with it. But yeah, I think that's true.
Exactly. And I actually did some research on that. Like people don't know that they have trauma. A lot
Hmm.
of people don't. I pulled up an article about it, but Riaz, if you'd like to give your input, go ahead.
okay. So basically, to me, that way what you're saying that the unresolved trauma can become generational and stuff like that. So, like that kind of aspect also, the unresolved part as well, like it can become generational trauma though, and that's what I kind of realized as well though, because like for me, that's what I think it is though, is with identity and stuff like that. Person's identity, when they go for an identity crisis, if they don't address it or fix it, it can become a generational trauma though. So
Hmm.
that's what I've actually realized at my age, though, because there are many people like me. It's just some of them don't realize it, or they don't, or they realize it at an older age. Basically, yeah, they're probably 30, 40, or probably much older, and they go their whole life without knowing who they are. Though, I'm kind of fortunate case to actually figure that out now, basically. You know, because like, not just how I feel it is though. Because I just realized if I don't fix that problem now, then it's gonna become generational. And whatever I'm going through now, though, if I had children, they'll go through it worse than me, and then later my whole bloodline.
Yeah, that's so true. Hi, Von Eric. That was good, Riaz. I appreciate your thoughts. Liberated. So Liberated said, Mo love. Speaking of trauma, not sure if somebody has mentioned this on any of your mental health topics, but I'm reading a book titled The Body Keeps the Score. It's a book diving into trauma. Yeah,
Mm,
that sounds interesting. And how it affects and
yeah,
rewires our brain. You should check it out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to
I've
look into
heard I've heard
it.
of that book. I didn't. I think I downloaded it.
Mm-hmm. So, hey, 84, did you want to add your thoughts?
Who, me?
I'm not 84 today. I'm soap today. No, I'm joking. Um,
Oh, God.
I,
You are so
um,
silly.
you got to bring humor into things. It makes
Of
life a
course.
lot better.
Hmm.
Because we are talking about something that is a very deep topic, and
Hi, Lisa.
very introspective as well.
Mm-hmm.
Salute to everybody in the chat. You know what I mean? Salute to everybody on the panel. Mo, good to see you. Bolo,
Yes,
I'm
you
messing with you. Bolo as always. Mr. Bryant, you know what I mean? Brandon, what's going on? Young Riaz, what's
Nope.
good? Um, but I think that trauma is a really big thing in our relationships because we don't have enough safe spaces. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
overall within our culture and our community, like we just don't have enough safe spaces. So if I'm feeling something, or if I'm really going through something, it's really hard for us to express it because it's not something that is popularized or even accepted. We're
It's
told
not.
that we're told that we need to pull each other up by our bootstraps. We're told that we need to do this, that, and the third. We are not told that being emotionally vulnerable is either acceptable, either acceptable, liked, or even the norm. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And then it's the old cliche. You from the South, Mo. You know what it is. If you tell
Right.
somebody what's going on, they're gonna be like, "Child, ain't nothing wrong with you. Go get
Right.
something to eat." Right? So you
Mm-hmm.
telling me I need food in order to deal with my trauma? Good morning to my sister KMA. Good morning to my
Oh,
music
I
therapist.
love KMA. She's been
Yeah,
up
that's
here
that's my sister
before.
right there, for
Hi.
real.
She has
Yeah,
so much
hopefully.
wisdom.
Yeah, hopefully she comes up. Hopefully she comes up after she's had her coffee or her tea. I don't know which one she's doing today. But but yeah, we're not creating that, even within our own family dynamics, right? So we're not creating that in our own family dynamics. Yeah, go drink some water and lay down. Exactly. Exactly, Liberated Soul Rebel, right? You know what I mean? Oh, go get you some money, right? That's another one. Go get you some money. That's what's
Right.
wrong with you. Then you go get you some money. You know what I mean? So we're not creating actual safe spaces for each other just in our family dynamic. Okay, you on the T train? I got you, sis. Um, so
Hi,
because we're not
Selena.
creating that, what I mean? Of course, we don't create that in our family. Now, when we get into a romantic situation or even with a friend, of course, it's not going to be something that is going to be available to us because our community don't even make it available to us just within the home. So now that we
Yeah.
step out of the home, we think in our mind, I'm thinking, okay, you know, me and Mo got a problem. We friends, or is something romantic going on between us? You know what? I'm gonna get some money. If I go get some money, that's gonna solve it all. You know what I mean? I'm gonna
It's
be
a lot of
happy.
people like that.
Yeah,
Yep.
she gonna be happy. And yeah, I may have yelled at her or said certain things, or I may have had an outburst and broke all the dishes in the house. But you know what? I done made some money. I done replaced the dishes, and now everything's fine. No, everything is not fine.
It's
You know what I
not.
mean? I haven't
You
addressed my
ain't
behavior.
y'all.
I haven't dealt with my behavior. I haven't apologized for what I've done, right? So, you know what I mean? And nor am I getting the help that I need in order to correct or to even heal what I'm going through. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So now I'm bringing all this baggage towards you as a friend or whatever else. And now you're like, I ain't even do anything. Where's this coming from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why trauma is a big thing for us because we do not, set up any safe spaces within our home or within our community for it to be dealt with. You know what I mean? And that's why it's so important for us to go to the word, to read, to meditate, to listen to each other. Like
Yes.
really listen to each other. Not listen to respond, not listen to give a scripture, not listen just to pray with somebody. No, really take your time and
Mm.
listen and really hear if somebody is really, in hurt or in pain based on their trauma. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because if we're not doing that, then we can't say, well, I gave you a bunch of scriptures, so that show I love you. No, nah, you didn't even hear what I was going through. You didn't even listen to me. You didn't even hear what I was really dealing with. You just threw a bunch of scriptures at me and just said, "Hey, I'm gonna pray for you. Go be well fed and do good." Nah,
Mhm.
that's not love. It's deeper than that. The scriptures are good. Okay, we're not knocking the scripture at all.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But you can't now just say, okay, well, I'm just gonna give you a scripture and I'm up out of here. You're gonna have to figure that out.
Mhm.
No, you know, talk to me. Ask me what's going on. You know what I mean? You can still share scripture, but also show me that you are willing to put in the effort to show love. So
Mhm.
that's why trauma exists in a big part, within our communities, and also it exists because we are not we don't make it normalized, so normalize that we all have different traumas, a lot of
We
us,
don't. Right.
based on our environments. And I'll land there.
Yeah.
That was really good. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much
family.
for your thoughts.
Yeah,
So what
Mo Love,
is
uh,
that basolateral or basolateral nucleus?
basolateral nucleus. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So I think right now we need to deal with the ways that men and women deal with trauma in relationships because it's both different. Both of the phenomena is different because we're sexually dimorphic creatures. So
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
go ahead and do what you got to do, and then just let me know when to chime in.
Well, let me just say this if I could. Definitely, that's a very good point to bring out because men deal with trauma differently than women do. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And a lot of times, as men, we're very reluctant to share trauma. You see,
Mhm.
or share an experience because we don't see it as being very stoic. You see, we don't see it as being very masculine. And that's why oftentimes we're suffering in silence. Man, which causes that disease to fester like a cancer. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? Man. And so I hate that for us, but that just happens to be where we are. You know.
Right. Yeah, I hate it too, but that is so
I'm
real.
I'm about to explode. I'm about to explode right now. Vaughn, you have, oh my gosh. Oh, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. That is so, the scientific accuracy of what you just said is just so uncanny. That's just that, as a nerd with Asperger's, that just, fires my neurons.
Wow.
But yes, you are exactly right. But
Hi,
yeah,
Ronaldo.
if you're done, I'll cover that.
You embrace them and bring them in. That's the one I took. And how much
Anybody else?
You're fine. You can go, Brandon.
Okay. So
Oh, I'm sorry. Go,
yes.
go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead. I was gonna say something, but go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, boss man.
you're changing your through.
I think
I was
somebody
saying
has some
that
background noise.
Yeah.
yeah,
Someone
somebody do
has
have background
background
noise.
noise.
Masterclass.
Salute to Raldo. I see you in the building, bro. What's going on, Raldo?
Hi,
Um,
Ronaldo.
I was gonna say real quick, family. For men, yes, that is true. What you saying, Mr. Brian? That a lot of times, you know, when men go through stuff, they don't. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You know what I
Nobody
mean?
cares, or do they like keep it in?
We keep it in because we don't feel like nobody cares. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I remember when I was going through health challenges, people were telling me like, "Hey, man, you need to get it together." I was like, "Yo, I could barely walk. I am using
Wow.
I'm using a walker to walk, so I can't get it together right now. I want
Mm-hmm.
to, but I can't. You know what I mean? I'm sleeping, excess hours because I'm trying to. My body's trying to recover. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, and I have to be sleep by a certain time because I'm trying to recover. So, these are real things. But I don't just want to table it to the men as well because women are told that they have to, self soothe themselves, right? You know what I mean? How many times women are told, "Hey, girl, go and get your hair did. You get your hair
Right.
did, you good." You know what I mean? Mo, you go try this new hairstyle. Mo, you try this new hairstyle, you gonna be all right, sister. You know what I mean? Go get your nails done. You know what I mean? That's wrong. You didn't get your nails done for about a month now, so that's why you feeling what you're feeling. Like,
Yeah.
no, I really have some trauma that I'm going through. Getting my nails done is cool, but that ain't gonna solve everything.
Yeah, that's for the
We are
moment.
told to self-soothe in our culture, both men and women both. So I land there.
Well, let me say this pertaining to what Vaughn and 84 just said, right? When we're looking at men, more often than not, are taught to suppress rather than express, their feelings. Society tells us to man up, don't cry, get over it. So
Mm-hmm.
trauma gets buried beneath silence, anger, or distraction. Many men translate emotional pain into action, overworking, isolating, numbing with substances, or showing irritability instead
Yeah.
of sadness, right? Because we take that sadness as being weak. Vulnerability might feel like weakness to a man who's been trained to be the protector, the provider, the one who can't afford to break. And so he carries this wound silently, as we all do,
Mm-hmm.
often unaware that his reactions, coldness, avoidance, control, are trauma wearing in disguise. And this is when we break. This is when things get out of control. And when we're looking at women, on the other hand, are more likely to internalize trauma. They're often more comfortable seeking emotional support or speaking about it, speaking about their
Right.
pain. But they may turn it inward, blaming themselves, overthinking, or drowning in anxiety. Trauma for women can manifest as hypertension or hypervigilance, people pleasing, perfectionism, or the inability to say no. While men may shut down emotionally, women may overextend emotionally, giving from a place of emptiness just to feel secure or needed. So the difference is, um, isn't in it isn't who feels more, but in how the pain is allowed to breathe or not. Men often need permission to feel without shame, while women often need permission to rest without guilt. Both need safety, both need patience, and both need grace. And that's the bridge between the two, in understanding and realizing that trauma doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And healing
Yes.
looks different for both parties.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's so true.
Yeah, yeah, that's you. Like you guys are killing it. You guys are amazing. Um, let's see. I have an article pulled up from the National Library of Medicine, and they were looking at the gender-specific roles of trauma and how it, how we deal with it, and how, you know, just some of the various issues look like on a clinical setting. So I'm reading the some of the abstract. Says that women have a 2 to 3 times higher risk of developing PTSD compared to men, and that's interesting.
I
I
did not
wonder,
know that.
Wow.
yes. Now, why do y'all think that is?
We're
I
more
think, yeah, yeah, based on several brain factors like oxytocin and you know, just the general emotional state of women. They respond to trauma different.
mm-hmm.
So the lifetime prevalence of trauma is about 10 to 12% in women, which is versus half that in men. So twice as many of the women that you meet in your life are going to have trauma than the men are. And I think, I postulate I take this with a grain of salt. This may be because men are so suppressive of their traumas. But, you know, another thing we need to understand is that when you have trauma, both sexes exhibit comorbid disorders such as major depressive disorder, which is what I had, and anxiety disorders. Does that ring a bell to anybody here? And
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yes,
so
sir.
yeah, so men and women experience different types of traumas, especially in their private lives, they're at work. Women are more exposed to high impact trauma than men at a younger age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's trauma in your early life has a way, way, way higher impact. And I'm going to talk to y'all about attachment theory in just a second. I'm sure y'all know the attachment theory, right? You have you have what is it? Secure attached, um,
Mm-hmm.
anxious attached, avoided attached, and disorganized, right? We'll get to that in a second. But basically covering the sexual differences, the sex specific responses and trauma. Men, yeah, what the previous guy said earlier is absolutely correct. Dr. John Gray in his book "Women Are from Mars," I'm sorry, "Men Are from Mars, Women Are from Venus," states in his book that women, when they deal with you know feel upset feelings, they tend to seek social support, while men will go to what he says is a cave. We'll deal with our problems, you know, to our, try to seek our own answers, based on our need to be autonomous.
Mm-hmm.
So this coincides with what the article says here by the Library of Medicine. Women, basically women they have their they're not hypothalamus, their amygdala is more hypersensitized. So you actually have in women, your brain actually, remember what I said, the hypothalamus can actually grow 13%
Mm-hmm.
in response to trauma. So yeah, I remember you said, Mo Love, something about, how your brain is physically changed by traumas. Yes, your brain grows more neural pathways in accordance to that trauma. So
Right, it
that's something,
does.
yeah, yeah. So that's something to think about when when you're in trauma. As a woman, when you're in trauma, you need to do everything you can to get out of that.
Right. And
Minimize trauma as much as possible.
you're right when you said we display our trauma completely different.
Yeah,
Women, I think another reason why, like, sometimes we're encouraged or often expected to express whatever pain we feel emotionally, like
exactly.
through tears, through conversation, or just through seeking support. And society often permits us to be vulnerable, even if we are labeled as too emotional. It's not out of the norm for women. And with men, um, they are expected, as Bolo said earlier, to appear strong. They internalize their trauma through silence. It can be through withdrawal or even anger. And I see that a lot too.
Yeah, women are more palliative in dealing with their trauma, whereas men were more problem focused in
Hmm.
solving our traumas. Women seek more social reports, says the article by the Library of Medicine. The lack of it being the most consistent predictor of negative outcome of trauma.
Hmm.
And it shows that women have been shown to benefit more from psychotherapy more than men in the reduction of PTSD symptoms.
Right.
So,
Hold on really
yes,
quick. I'm sorry to interrupt
go
you.
ahead.
Hi, KMA.
Okay.
I see you're in the back, but it's saying you have to connect your mic before I can't allow you up. It's saying your device is not properly connected. So if you could go out and come back in.
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah. So this would perfectly segue to how traumas, the how we how this is always see. Okay, so we've got to the we we talked about how men and women deal with trauma. We talked about what is trauma is. So as it relates to our relationships, we need to cover one more subject, which is the four attachment styles. I don't know if any of y'all studied attachment theory in college, but one of the proposed theories was attachment theory. So you got let's see, what is this article? Always look over my articles for scientific accuracy. I like peer review. I don't want just some staff journalists, you
Mm-hmm.
know, making an article. But okay, yeah, this one looks legit. Okay, so you got your four attachments: anxious attach, avoidant attach, disorganized, insecure. So those are your attachment styles. That now this was based on how that this experiment was done by earlier scientists, and what they did was they left their child. The mother would leave their child and come back in the room to seeing how they would respond to their absence, and these attachment styles that the infants would exude would it was like a harbinger for how they would act in their adult life. So that's
I have a quick
our
question.
yeah. Go
Before
ahead.
before
Uh,
you go, I'm sorry.
oh,
Hi, KMA, that's you, right? KMA.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it is me. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Thank you so much
Hey,
for
sister, what's up?
joining. Hayek
Hey,
Waba. I think I said that right. I know you had a question, Vaughn.
Yeah, just real quick. This attachment theory that you're speaking of, Brandon, um,
Yeah.
is that in any way tied to what they call trauma bonding, or because I hear this word quite a bit, or
No,
is there a
it would
difference?
be, yeah, this would be a little bit different. Trauma bonding, where's my article for that? I had that pulled up too. Trauma
Okay, well, you
bonding is
can
a
just
little bit
explain the
different.
differences. I'm listening.
Yeah, attachment theory is based on how you're going to act in your current relationship. So, that's it's kind of like a style that is excuse me. It it's basically pattern recognition of how, like, how you deal with your attachment, your bond for the partner that you have.
The different
That's basically.
the different phases of what you're going through and how you deal with it is right. So what he's talking about is like secure attachment, right? It's like you saying I trust you and I trust myself. And people with secure attachment, they grew up with caregivers who were responsive or consistent and emotionally available. As a result, they feel confident in relationships. So what Nesbitt is giving you the breakdown is the clarity of the different types of these four attachments that one would go through
Mm-hmm.
and what they
Exactly.
mean.
Yeah.
So the anxious attachment is more preoccupied, opposed to the avoidant attachment is more dismissive, and the
Yes.
organized attachment is more fearful.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly.
and what he's going to do is give you the breakdown in it when you get to understand the nuance to the difference of the different attachments. Vaughn. So I hope that it
Yeah.
answers.
Look. Yeah. That you hit it the nail on the head. Let me allow me to elucidate the four different attachments, and I think this will give you more clarification in reference to trauma bonding. Now, I do have a article about trauma bonding from the NCBV, but excuse me. Okay, you have secure attachment. They people with secure attachment have healthy, balanced relationships. Basically, anxious attachment people, they are characterized by a strong desire for closeness, but they also have a fear of abandonment, and they
Right.
tend to worry about relationships, and they're overly sensitive to the partner's actions, and they seek a lot of
Mm-hmm.
reassurance. Avoidant attachments, that's kind of like how I think I would be, maybe. Those with
Yeah.
avoidant attachment keep an emotional distance. They're like emotionally closed off.
And I
They
think a
appear to
lot of
be.
people, I'm sorry to interrupt you, have avoidant
No, no, no.
attachment.
Go ahead.
A lot of people have that and they don't even realize it, that it's avoidant attachment.
Yeah, I think they think they do, but they don't. They're just um, dealing with, they're just trying to manage their trauma. But
Right. They just
this is
they
that's
cut people
why.
off. They tend to be to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to be themselves and suppress certain emotional needs. And a lot of the times they often struggle with intimacy and vulnerability. It may appear
Right,
cold and detached in relationships, but it's not. It's a protective mechanism that they
right,
create to protect themselves from opening up in that avoidant attachment. They don't want to attach, so they separate themselves and create this environment that kind of helps them to cohabitate in their own little world, and they separate. And sometimes if they get too close, they'll just shut it down. So
So in other words, it's
yeah,
kind of like isolation, right?
absolutely.
right,
Isolating oneself. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
get
You're
it.
like you're basically self-sequestering your
Right.
invulnerabilities. But
You
yeah,
know, you're figuring it's like when you tell people, I don't want to get hurt. So I've created
yeah,
this door, right? This
this
door
wall, yeah,
wall, this door that keeps me from getting hurt, also keeps you from loving. So I don't I've
exactly,
learned I've learned I don't deal with the pain. I'm bad with dealing with the pain, so I'd rather sequester myself and lock this door and not deal with it at all because I don't handle the pain good.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of, and one thing we got to think about is in classical conditioning, Pavlovian response, you can actually your brain can actually associate even different sounds, different smells that can trigger your trauma too in these relationships.
absolutely.
But yeah, I'll hit on the most nefarious attachment style, which is disorganized attach. That means that stems from early childhood trauma or instability, leading to inconsistent behaviors in relationships. So
Yeah.
people with disorganized attachment have a mix of pushing people away and emotional regulation. So all of these things are, this is the big trend. That, by the way, this is the big trend on YouTube now. You'll see everybody, all the scientists and all the, like what was that popular podcast, Diary of the CEO? There's a woman from Harvard, and she was talking about the different attachment styles, and he was elucidating some of the idiosyncrasies of his relationship with his woman. But yeah, this attachment theory is quite old, so don't be fooled into thinking that's the new
He's not,
thing now.
no,
But
it's not.
it kind of I just find it as a relative framework for what we're dealing with in modern times and in modern relationships. So I
Yeah.
think it's extremely important. I would be remiss if I didn't, cover that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so
But
much.
yeah,
So the people that just joined, hi Destiny. Thank you so much. Thank you, Commander. I appreciate you guys. So yeah, Baba said perhaps people like that are misinterpreted beforehand and rather not have a psychological debate at certain times though.
And typically things like that happens. It's wherewithal. It's a pissing contest at that point. It has nothing to do with helping the persons about the people trying to, you know, use their mind to show how deep they are, and the actual people that are going through what they're going through gets lost in the sauce. But
Mhm.
um, to what Vaughn had asked earlier about trauma bonding. The raw truth of trauma bonding, Vaughn, is trauma bonding happens when someone begins to associate pain with love, chaos with
Mhm.
connection, and control with care. You know, this often occurs in relationships where there's emotional abuse, narcissism, gaslighting, or other toxic patterns. And sometimes, you know, and most times, the abuser might tear you down one day, then build you up the next, creating a powerful emotional hook. And that's where that, you know, and that happens a lot in these relationships when people bond over trauma, right? Creating a powerful emotional hook. And the brain clings to the highs because it's desperate to escape the lows. And over time, this person starts to believe that the toxic cycle is part of love, or worse, that they deserve it. And that's just, you know, a quick breakdown of what trauma bonding looks like when two people get involved. One, you know, so.
Now, is this trauma bonding one sided, or is it you have two parties that are both traumatized?
It could be both. You know, one person can be
So you're saying it can be one sided as well.
it could be one-sided as well, but it can also be if I have a trauma in one situation on one thing of my life and you have trauma in another portion in your life, it can be a tennis match depending
Mhm.
on what it is. Right? But in most situations, there's always one more dominant than the other. Right? And when that other person realizes that this is not what they want, that
Mhm.
person that was actually dishing it out, the person that was in really control, that's when they tend to cling and try to hold on to, because they are in that last one that Nesbitt was talking about, that avoidance, right? They want to be loved, but they don't want to deal with the feeling of losing love. You can't have both.
It's fair.
You have to understand that life is not 100%. You may walk out the building and a
Yeah.
damn meteorite might hit you in your head. That's the purpose of life.
You
There
never
is
know.
no guarantee. You never
never
know.
know.
So this is why you should live life to the fullest, day in and day out, right? This is
Right.
why you need to tell those you love, I love them. And this is why the Lord tells you, don't worry about tomorrow. You may not make it. Figure out today. So that's
Yeah.
why people get so caught up in, you know what? I have to plan for the future. I have to plan for the future. When the Lord tells you, here's two things you need to focus on: your past, so that you have no regrets, because regrets means you did nothing about it. You didn't learn what you needed to learn from your past, right? Because you have no regrets when you learn the lesson and then you apply it in the present. And what you do is you learn, and hopefully in your learning, it prepares you for the future.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. And when it comes to how men and women address trauma, as Brandon was speaking, it is so different because we women, I think, often think that men can be heartless, and it's not that they're heartless. I think they're unheard a lot of times. And women, I mean, men often think that women are just, I guess, too emotional or dramatic, but I think it's because women feel dismissed. So that's a very unfortunate disconnect.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And this is why I recommend reading the book "Men Are from Mars, Women Are from Venus." I think is a very gives a very great way of psychoanalyzing our loved ones, our our the people we love, or our relationship partners, basically.
Mhm.
Dr. John Gray, he's very famous. He's an incredible doctor. I love his work so much. But he like like the book is very simple. It's a great read. It's like one of those books you can't put down, but it helped me so much in my relationship and understanding that's it wasn't red pill. I consider that book to be more than just red pill. It it really helps you understand your woman, and it really helps women understand their men. So
Mhm.
for the audience out there, I highly recommend getting Dr. John Gray's book. I'm sure most of y'all have read it. It's a hugely famous book. He's
Mhm.
living very nicely because of it. Trust me. Like even his
Yeah.
staff are millionaires now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um.
but it's like this whole battle of the sexes thing we have right now is because we don't understand each other. We don't understand what each other's going through.
Yeah, and a lot of people are still trying to have a functional, healthy relationship without again addressing the trauma. So
Yeah,
Yikwapa
and
said, if lions are not properly fed in a zoo, will it be hostile? Are the lions to blame or their captors?
If lions are not properly fed, put it up again, please.
Oh, okay.
If lions are not properly fed in the zoo, will it be hostile? Are the lions to blame or their captives? No, you would blame the captives. But here's the difference between us and animals. We're self-aware, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
self-aware. You know, an animal, you take him going to take him for a walk, and he takes a dump on sidewalk, he's going to kick up the cement thinking it's dirt. It's instinctive. Now, although man, when I mean men and women, man have instinctive traits. We still are self-aware, right? We are able to bend the environment to us, opposed to us bending to the environment. So we're self-aware. We're able to think outside of ourselves while animals can't. So the point in some actions you can use that point, and you're absolutely correct. You know, the problem here is if I'm going through what I'm going through, there's no way in hell I can see what you're going through while I'm going through my situation. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have the mental fortitude or the capacity to see what you're going through. So, I can't help you swim if I can't swim, because both of us going to drown. So I have to have some type of understanding of where I'm at, and understand what I'm going through, and then understand that Women understand things. We process things differently, men and women.
Very.
And the problem that we have is we're trying to get each other to understand that you should think like I do. We think differently. And we have to understand that. So to a certain extent, we have to understand that women process things emotionally through emotions, and that's how they speak and things of that nature, whatever the situation might be, and men differently. So once you can understand, because again, when we're having conversations, if someone wins, because when you hear these conversations on these panels, it's always built for someone to win or for someone to lose. It's not built to gain clarity and to gain understanding and to gain a foothold to understand how you're thinking, what you're going through, so that I can have a snapshot, so that when I do talk to my woman, I have a little bit more clarity than what I had before. They feel,
Yes.
we feel attacked. And when I say we, I'm meaning both men and women. We feel attacked. So at that point, now it's a defense mechanism now. Now I'm not trying to understand. Now this is a point of trying to prove my point. And now,
Right.
that point of trying to grow together is out of the question now. And that's where we need to gain clarity and create that environment of safety to say, okay, listen, this ain't a blaming game, but let's try to
Okay, hold on really
understand.
quick. Okay, KMA, because I do want to hear you speak. If you could come back.
Yeah, let KMA go now if she
Well,
wants to.
she said her phone is dying.
Yeah. Hey guys, I want to ask a question. I think a lot of people do not know that their partner has trauma in their relationship. You may be one of those people that are dealing with a partner right now, and they're exhibiting a lot of emotional symptoms, and you just you don't know. You
Mm-hmm.
are confused about why they're acting this or that way. But yeah,
Wow.
I want to open the floor for anybody else that has questions. But I'd like
Yeah.
to hit on an article from Psychology Today by Dr. John. I'm sorry, Dr. Seth Gillian.
Yeah.
He has a nice article about signs that your partner has trauma in their and how it's affecting your relationship. But I'll open the floor for anybody else for commentary.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted
I'm
to.
gonna be
I wanted to
sorry.
address something that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, brother. Are you need to say
Yeah.
something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna say though, when it comes to trauma relationship, that thing is not just only going to
I
affect
get
the both
red.
us.
Can you remember like kind of, I guess, talk into the device so I can hear you? Can you start over, please?
Okay, so I'm going to when it comes to the trauma part and the relationship, it's not just going to only affect the two people in it, but can affect everyone around it, even the kids too, though. Because say if both parents actually have what they have, but at the same time the child actually notices what the parent is going through, though, they also the child themselves is also going to internalize it, or they're going to struggle to understand what the parent's going through as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna ask the question,
I
Brandon,
agree.
though. What about the over attachment style? What does that fall under though?
I'm sorry, the attachment styles. You had a question
Over
regarding
attachment. Over
over
attachment.
attachments.
Yeah.
Oh, over attachment. Okay, so how we can see over attachment in a relationship. I got one example, like a psycho fan. I posted that in the comments earlier. It's a person who acts obsequiously towards somebody in order to gain an advantage. So that's one of the things that you'll see. People basically they're like a parasite that clings to people with power to boost themselves. So this, I think it's based on in a traumatic, it's basically um, a traumatic response. So yeah, being overly attached that deals with a lot of tends to deal with a lot of insecurities. Um, and yeah, it can be classified as a um, type of trauma, I would guess. I'd have to resort to the DSM-5 for more specificity on that. But yeah, being overly attached is symptomatic of trauma, definitely.
Mm,
To answer your question
okay.
concisely.
Good point, though. I feel that, though, Brennan. I admit that I feel like sometimes, though, I might have that overly attachment type thing, but I'm not in a bad way, but more in a good way. Because, I'm kind of, like you and me are kind of different, though, so I kind of feel you on that type of thing, though. So sometimes I can be overly attached, but not in my control, though. Sometimes, though.
This you hold on. This
Yeah,
you right, KMA.
It is me.
Okay. I'm thank you so much for being patient. Would you like to add to the topic?
Sorry, I was just having so many technical things. Everything was just going against me. Um, with, with yeah, with my phone dying, and well, the first time was actually my headset's not connecting, then my phone dying, and yeah. Um, but what I just wanted to pose, like so many of the points that were mentioned here, was so insightful. I
Mhm.
do not take anything that even our guys say in here, for granted, because being a wife, and even other females that you may not be a wife, but even just in your interactions with males, or
Mhm.
aspiring to be married, it is vital to take these points into account, to also understand that there's some situations that you will never understand when it comes to how he might process things or handle things, or deal with things. And it's okay to just step back and be like, okay, when you're ready, I'll be here to
Mhm.
just listen. you know um so these things help. It does really help, because as a female, I will be honest to say, sometimes we fail that many times. Sometimes we
And
don't just want to
listening.
listen. We listen to understand, and
Mm.
sometimes we don't have to understand. It's a spam call. Cut it off.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, you see, that's my husband's phone. I'm his secretary too. That's the wonderful part of marriage. So, but
Mhm.
the awesome part is that sometimes you have to understand that we don't have to listen to understand. Sometimes we just have to listen, because he needs somebody to speak to. And if we do not open that platform of communication and provide that safe space, and I'll always say it, until the day the Lord takes me, is always create a safe space for your partner to come and speak to, always be approachable.
Mhm.
And that falls on you, and the environment that you're setting in the home. But even when it comes to that, the statistics and everything that was spoken about in regards to even the studies was awesome. But my challenge that I would post, well, my question that I would challenge it is, how do we apply that to the practical? Because it's one thing to read how, okay, this is how it's affecting the brain, and how this affects childhood trauma and generational trauma and kids, and a female being pregnant, and a male when he was in his mother's womb, and all that stuff. It's all fair and well when we read it on paper to understand what it is, scientifically and for knowledge purposes. But now, how do we make that practical and start applying these things? Where do we start by saying, okay, yes, this is the problem? I think we're so much stuck in, at some points, a society that's always, oh, this is the problem. I mean, even in South Africa, in my community as well, oh, that's the problem, there was no father in the home, or this is the problem, there was no this, there was no that, there was no finances, they grew up in a poverty stricken community, and
Mhm.
there was no sports that were implied in their schools to get them to focus on other things other than drug addiction or gangsterism, and all that stuff. Okay, that's highlighting, yes, that's the problem, but what is the solution? And
I'm glad you asked that question.
but and I'll land my plane with this, because and it'll always come back to Jesus for me, because I've tried it the other way, and
Mhm.
I've made many close friends, and this is not just like for book smarts, but close friends that I've spoken to that have also fallen away from the faith because of being hurt by people, and again because of also childhood traumas kicking in because of what people in churches did, sent them right back, 10
Right.
times worse, right? But then again, they also recognizing like that's not a Jesus issue. This was a people issue, and I just can't
Thank
handle
you.
those people right now. But this is, as I say, these are some of the people I know in the community I'm in. But why I come back to for myself, it became a Jesus is the solution, because I came from a single parent household. I came from not having a father. I came from knowing who my father is, knowing that he's a drug addict, knowing that he tried to kill me when I was a baby, knowing that like it was a whole lot of mess too. That also made me understand why I had a physical reaction to his presence. I would even react, my body would react before he even entered in the property. I knew when he was coming, because of the trauma that I'd faced when I was, in the womb, right? Because he started being abusive towards my mom when she was pregnant. The moment she said I'm pregnant, dude started being like, I'm gonna kill everybody in this house. So I was reacting off of trauma that happened before I even let out my first cry. And as a writer, I write about these things because I know that was part of my healing process. Now, that's where I'm landing my plane, is that how do we get from, okay, that's the problem, and this is what I had to face, and this is what I go through, but what are we doing to get through the process of where I'm going to be healed from this, and I'm going to be free from this, because no one wants to stay in that mess, I would like to think. Okay, I don't know about others. Maybe others do want to stay in that dark place. I don't know. But I know for myself, I never wanted to stay in that dark place because it brought a lot of anxiety. It brought a lot of depression. It affected my quality of life, where I would have anxiety attacks at my workplace. My husband would have to come and get me because sometimes my boss would be because of his traumas also, he would be unapproachable and come with his whole explosions on me, and I would just like, oh God, I can't talk to this man and I can't get my point across, and I'm having a full-on anxiety attack, right? And my husband would have to come and be my rescue ranger, God bless him, and he would come, drop everything and come and assist me. I had high blood pressure at some point. I had, and high blood pressure, I remember when I was diagnosed, there was somebody that the doctor had said, okay, this is something you have all your life. No, I'm healed of high blood pressure. And again, I'll give credit to Jesus. Okay, so so at the end of this, and as I say, I have no problem with statistics, right? There is some truth to statistics. It's not 100% accurate, because they have not seen everyone. They have not touched in every community. They have not faced, we've seen how some things can be debunked. That what's happening on the ground and what's happening scientifically might not match, or statistically might not match, right? But again, when it comes to the healing process, and this is posed to everyone, right? If you are or want to be vulnerable enough to share that, what was your healing process, or what is your healing process like? Because I'm still in my healing process. I might be healed from the daddy, some of the daddy issues, right? I'll say some of the daddy issues where I can have a conversation with my father, my biological father. I have forgiven him. I can be in the same room with him. Opposed to the 16-year-old Kim that couldn't be in the same room with him. I could not stand to look at him. I got sick to my stomach, physically reacting like a cat seeing a dog. My hair would stand and it would be so bad. That would be my physical reaction to the trauma that was faced before birth, because my mom left him when I was still a baby, right? She wasn't around till I was 1 year old and all that mess, right? So what would be you guys' process on how to deal with the trauma? We've identified the problem, but how do we move forward now from that?
Yes, and I appreciate you for being very transparent. I always appreciate when you hit the link.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Vaughn, for tuning in and for your wisdom. I always appreciate you.
Yes. Well, I just want to say, good night to everybody. I do have to step away.
Hold on really quick, Brandon.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say that I really appreciate the conversation tonight. Thank you for having me up. I learned a great deal, you know, and these conversations are very necessary. And I appreciate you all for having me up. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
All
you
right,
so much.
much Yvonne.
Have a blessed night.
Okay.
All right, Mr.
All right,
Bryant.
boss man. All right.
Okay.
I
So,
gotta.
are you gonna
I gotta.
answer KMA?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I'm dying to. I'm dying to. Yeah. Let me cook a little bit. And I'll cede the floor. Okay. KMA. When your husband comes to you with various problems in his life, and he talks about some of the things that he's going through, it's important for women to understand when your man does that, he's asking for help. It's a cry for help because he doesn't know how to do it. He's not, women, on the other hand, they want you to just sit there and listen. They don't necessarily want a fix to their problems. In the book Men Are From Mars, When Women Are From Venus, Dr. John Gray, he says that men tend to mistakenly put on a Mr. Fix-It hat when they're trying to hear their woman's problems. On the other hand, men, we don't want you to just hear our problems. We need a solution. We need help. We're like, hey, man, I'm overwhelmed. I'm lost. So that's what you need to think about when he's coming to you. He needs your input. He values you enough to um take any kind of advice that you would have in regards to his problems and his whatever disposition he's in. Now, your next question was about, okay, we know about the trauma, we've seen the stats, and how do we move on from that? How do we actually heal trauma? Well, the APAs. Oh, okay, let me. All right, we heal the trauma. We heal trauma by science. We use scientific methods to heal the brain. The brain is physically affected from trauma as well as mentally, and you're not a lot of people deal with trauma try to deal with trauma themselves, and I say that you are
Can
not
I ask you a
professionally
question?
qualified to heal your traumas. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. So that's partial when you say we heal trauma through science to a certain extent, I guess.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and God as
I'm
well.
sorry. I'm just.
Yeah. Yeah, we remember we covered this on that two or three episodes back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so of course, I like I told my story of how God wouldn't allow me to heal my trauma until I went through a few things. He wanted to teach me something. So
Mm.
even though we do heal our brain scientifically, he disallowed me from doing that until I reached a certain precipice in my life. And I was at the graveyard with a knife and a Bible and a whole bunch of
Oh,
pills ready to
thank
take
you.
myself out. But what
Mm-hmm.
I that's when God allowed me healing myself. But yes, the American Psychological Association says that about 75% of people who do try psychotherapy has a benefit from it. Now,
Mm-hmm.
healing trauma or healing, the relationship problems. A lot of people are allopathic and versus homeopathic, and what that means is a lot of people use medicines to heal trauma versus homeopathic ways, which is using the body's natural responses to heal trauma. I defer to homeopathic. Dr. Joanna Moncrief, founder of the Critical Psychiatry Network, we talked about this in that episode as well. She did scientific tests, controlled experiments, which showed that, you know, antidepressants like Prozac wasn't really working at all. Y'all remember this. So, her solution was behavioral cognitive therapy. And I think that that is the main way for healing trauma in, you know, um, um, in heal in just for our better relationships. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, just
Can I add
just
something?
we have to we have to think about these things concisely. Go ahead, Bolo.
Oh, thanks, brother. To everything that Nesba said, yeah, we need clarity on that, right? Like he was saying. And I'll try to take a shot at the sister's question. First things first is understand that you can only control the controllables. That's the first thing, right? With anybody. Understand that there are things that you cannot control, you leave that in the hands of the Lord. Okay? What you can control is what you're responsible for. Okay? When you are hearing someone speak, you're not listening from your perspective. To understand someone is to understand their perspective and where they're standing at. For instance, if Mo Love comes to Bolo and she has a nail in her forehead,
Mm-hmm.
she's talking to me about her issues. The first thing typically what people do is, I know what her problem is. It's the nail in her forehead. If I take the nail out of her forehead, she's good. But here's the problem with that. Is that what she's complaining about?
Mm-hmm. Right.
If that's not what she's complaining about, and I already in my mind already figured out what her problem is, then I'm not listening to her. And that's what Nesbitt's talking about, right? And this
Right.
goes for both men and women, right? To hear what they're actually talking about, hear what their issue is. So when it comes to men, right, be a safe place, a non-judgmental presence. Many men were taught that vulnerability equals weakness, right? That vulnerability equals weakness. Let your silence speak safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, listen. He doesn't always need a solution. This was what Nesbitt was talking about. Not every time, he comes to you, he wants a breakdown. Sometimes your silence says more, right? He knows that you're a safe place for him to talk to you. Just a place where his truth won't be used against him. That's one thing. If you ever have a man open up to you and you ever use what he opened up to you in against him, he will never open up to you again. That's a
That's
100%, right?
Mhm.
So encourage his expression without pressure, right? Ask open-ended questions like, was your day hard? Instead of, what's wrong with you? Right?
Mhm.
Because when you preface what's wrong with you, you're looking at him being the problem opposed to him just having a hard day. Does that make sense, KMA? I don't know if she can hear me.
Hey, KMA, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I can hear you. That helps.
Okay, so give him room to speak when he's ready, because sometimes, we want to press down and no, give him room to decompress.
Mhm.
Don't interpret his silence as rejection. It's
Mhm.
not. A lot of the times women take that as a sign of rejection, that he's being quiet. A lot of the times men, we process things. A lot of the times, we like to get our thoughts together before we come to you to talk to you about it. We're figuring it out ourselves in our mind, right? Affirm his worth. Same way women need to be affirmed, men need to be affirmed, especially when he may have doubts, right? A man in his trauma often questions whether he's enough. Your words can be healing. I'll give you I love to give examples because it kind of puts everything into perspective. If you have sex with a man, okay, and you tell that man that his pipe game was trash,
Mhm.
it shuts down his confidence, period. Okay?
Right.
But if you have sex with the man, you know that he needs to do some more work. But if you tell him, man, you were so awesome that night, that man will go to the zoo and fight a lion that night. Okay, because of your affirmation, because of your words. You have power to speak strength into him. That's the thing of your femininity. That's the power of women's femininity, which they seem to lose when they trade it for masculinity. Your femininity can stop us in our tracks.
So, can I ask a question? How is a woman supposed to affirm, I guess, if the man keeps everything bottled in? Like, how do you bring comfort if the person is not opening up that they're actually?
Well, that goes to the point of give him his time. He will talk to you. The Lord will set it up where where there will be a time for you to have that conversation. A lot of the times when he doesn't talk to you, the women get caught up in their own emotions, thinking that he's shutting you out and that, all of these different things, and you miss that opportunity. It has nothing to do with you. He's working it out in his own mind.
Right.
It out. So you just need to be patient enough and wait.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the next is helping him slow down and breathe. Just saying, babe, come here. Come here for a second. Let's just breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes in our minds, we tend to not want to be in that position of weakness. We don't like feeling weak. So what we'll do is we'll probably try to do, well, most times we'll try to do things like work or try to facilitate something else in that moment of us feeling weak. So you just slow him down and just say, breathe, or let's go for a walk, or even more important, more prevalent. And this is the first thing I say that we all should do. Pray over him.
Yes.
Pray over him. That's our first line of defense. It's not our in case of break glass, right? Pray over him.
Yes.
Don't take his emotional shutdown personal. A lot of the times we I'll give you an example. A lot of the times when you see white people playing with these animals and these animals rip a leg off or rip an arm off, hey, you always notice these white people don't get upset.
Mm-hmm.
These white people are right back into, surfing after a shark took their leg. Why is that? Because they've come to the realization that this shark don't know. I'm in his world. So, for example, there's a dog tied up, and this dog has been tied up for a long time, and the chain is around his neck. It's rained. It's cold. All this dog is seeing is that people are passing by. So here comes Bolo ready to help this dog. I have to come to the grips to understand that this dog may bite the hell out of me because this dog doesn't know that I'm trying to help him.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't know that. So when I can come to grips with it might bite me, or it might say something that, is upsetting. This man may say something to me that I may not want to hear. I don't want to effing talk right now. It has nothing to do with you. It's the process or the moment that he is in. So don't take it personal. And that's vice versa with men, right?
Mm-hmm.
So men, because I always like to be an equal opportunity shooter.
Right.
Men, when it comes to women, right? We have to be consistent and emotionally available.
Yes.
Which it.
Thank you, Chipo. Hey, boo. I love you. Yes, but consistency. That's what women need most.
Absolutely.
Emotional availability. And then I think the issue is men can start out a certain way, right? They're all excited getting to know the woman like, oh, this is great. And then once you get to know her, or once you feel like you have her, you become comfortable.
But here's the thing.
Neglect her emotional needs.
It's not always about comfortability. Sometimes that man that was in the position where he gave you all that time may not be in that same situation, and things change. Nothing in life is static. Everything is in flux. And this is where she has to understand that. But Let's get back to it, right? So, trauma in women often comes from betrayal, abandonment, or abuse. So, our consistency, like Mo was saying, is needed, right? And it helps them to rewire that phobia they had of the inconsistencies. Again, the same thing that men need, women need. Validate her emotions. Saying things like, it makes sense. You'd feel that same way, or you're allowed to feel this way. And most of all, saying, I'm here. I'm not going no place, right? Protect her peace without a sense of control. And what that
Yes.
means is you're talking about that control at the earth, that earthly control, right? You don't want to do that, right? Show her a safe place, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. It's very important. Most of all, the same way women have to learn our triggers, we have to learn their triggers so that we don't walk on eggshells, right? And be aware, raised voices. A lot of the time, women will follow your lead. So if she's yelling and you yell, she's going to go an octave higher. And then what you're going to do is an octave higher. So we need to be ever present. So if she's yelling, talk in a calm manner. It takes two people to get to that point, right? She'll follow your lead. It'll happen naturally.
Right.
And most of all, the most important of all is cover her in prayer.
Absolutely.
So I hope
That's key.
that helped you, KMA. And I think that was just a basics of what Nesbitt was saying. So I hope,
Yeah.
I hope that,
And I want
hope-
to add something to that too. But those were really good points. A lot of times in relationships, dealing with the man and the woman, I think we tend to name the wound. No, we don't name the wound. We just focus on the behavior. So in a lot of relationships, we focus on what was done and not why it was done. So for example, if you say you always shut down, right? But we never focus on they shut down because they may have been taught not to feel, or you're
but
too needy,
here's
but
a point to
you
that.
never focus on the fact that they were abandoned because no one ever stayed. So it's just so many
But
different
see,
levels and dynamics to it.
here's the
Dang, I
problem.
like that.
Here's the problem with that. The problem with that is a lot of times people, when they suffer with depression, they're unable to, they're not at that point to diagnose and say, this is where it is. So although you're correct, and we need to find the cause, because if we don't find the cause, we'll always deal with the effect. The most important portion of it is being patient, because unlike someone that's angry, okay, the difference between depression and anger, although they share similar traits, when I'm angry with Mo, there's a reason. I'm angry because she cut me off and she keeps muting me. So I know the reason for my anger. When you're looking at depression, a lot of the times they don't know why. They've boggled it down for so long, and there's so much stuff on top of it. It takes time for them to get to that point of saying, this is where it emanated from. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we have,
Man, you guys are better than my counselors.
No, this is like so good.
Oh man, that
So Black Lexicon
you
said,
guys
good
are
evening, Mo Loving
amazing.
Christian family. I don't usually do panels because of self-preservation, privacy reasons. Many would like to dent my armor. I understand.
Whenever I can share, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mo.
No, I was just saying I understand. What were you gonna say? 84?
Remember it's soap today. It's soap today, Mo. But and I'm joking around. Um, okay, to answer can make a question about what do we do to you know fight through when we are feeling trauma, we're dealing with our trauma. For me, I will go pray, I will go read scripture, also seek counsel.
Mhm.
And then I do things that will relax me, whether it's reading. Um, I do like kind of like this therapeutic bath reading time thing that I like to do. Video gaming, sightseeing, eating something that I actually like. You know what I mean? Watching sports, working out. Like there's a various amount of things that I will do, or binge watch something that I like to watch on Netflix or whatever. There's a plethora of things that I do to actively help me to work through my trauma.
Mhm.
And it's not just one thing, right? It can be an assortment of things, right? Um, so that's to answer your question about what do I do to help myself work through that. In regards to what y'all talking about, I think that I think that like I don't want to overcomplicate this at all, right? I get what
Mhm.
Bolo is saying. Don't not saying I disagree with you, Bolo, but I also don't want to overcomplicate it either. So I do get like if you have like a mental health issue that maybe you need like a step by step type of thing, or maybe it's hard for you to process certain things or to say certain things, right? So that I completely agree with you on, right? You get no type of any pushback from me at all. The only thing I would say is that sometimes outside of the mental health thing or emotional health traumas and things of that nature, sometimes it just boils down to, after a while, even whether in the beginning or the end, that person just don't like you like that no more. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
just the
That's
facts. I
the
mean, come
truth.
on.
Just say
That's just the
that.
facts. Mo, come on, you with me, sis. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, like just
They
keep
just
it
don't like you like
real.
that, bro. They just don't. Okay.
Keep it
And
real. Like that's
you
not
know,
fair to the other party.
yeah, you done put all the scripture out there. We done did the prayers. We done did the counseling. You just don't like me like that. You ain't you.
Mhm.
You just here because I am providing a relationship for you out of comfort, but you don't really like me like that. Because if the
Mhm.
next male or female walk in here, right? You man, now man, Idris Alba done walked in the building. You telling him your whole life story. I asked you how your day was. I asked you how your day was, and you can't even tell me how your day was. But this brother walked through, and you telling him everything. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Or
You
you
know what
asked me
that
how
is,
my day was.
84? If that
Or you
happens,
asked me or you asked me how my day was, and I don't want to talk to you at all, Mo. Mo, I don't want to talk to you, man.
but
Holly Berry done walked in the building. I'm telling Holly Berry everything. I'm calling my mama. I'm saying, hey, mama, Holly Berry here. You want to speak to her? Like I'm telling her everything, right? Because sometimes it boils down to. I always say this. Sometimes it boils down to our basic human things, our basic human character. Sometimes a person just don't like you like that. That is
Right.
hard to swallow, right? Because when
Yes.
you are fully invested, whether it is in, you know, getting to know someone, what's going on, Braxton? Getting to know someone
Hey,
as far as,
Braxton.
dating them or building a friendship, or more importantly, even if you now let's say you are actually married to that person, and let's say you're actually either on the process of building a family or you have built the family. Now to figure out this person don't like you like that, oh yeah, that's hard. That hurts. Hurts a
Mhm.
lot. In all stages it hurts, but it
Why
definitely
aren't
hurts.
people honest about that
can I
though?
respond to, can I respond
Signs
to
are,
that?
the
Can I
signs are
respond?
normally there.
Let
Why
me respond to that.
can't
Well,
people
can I
just
just say
be
one last thing?
honest?
And I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna
Absolutely.
be quiet.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Um, cause I'm gonna go grab my gelato. Now, what I'm gonna say is this, right? The reason why people don't want to be actually truthful about that, Mo, is because now that I verbalize I don't like you, now I may lose you, right? Now I'm losing the comfort that you bring. Now I'm losing whatever resources or money or benefits it is, with being with you, right? Because let's
Mhm.
say I'm getting off of work and every day I got off of work mode, you made sure I had all of everything I needed when I came in the house. I came in
Mhm.
the house, you know what I mean? My slippers was there, you know what I mean? Bathtub ran, my books is out, the food cooked, everything, the game on. I'm
So
watching LeBron. Everything,
convenient.
yeah, everything's convenient. But I don't like you like that, right?
Okay.
That's so
So because I don't like you like
selfish.
that, I don't all of you. I'm losing everything that you're bringing, and I'm comforted by that. So now that comfort is taken away, and I got to go find it with somebody else, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm so selfish that
Mm.
I am keeping you in bondage in Exactly, Scorch. I'm keeping you in bondage, and salute the Scorch. I'm keeping you in bondage, knowing that I don't like you like that, and
Thank
that's hard. And a
you.
lot of people
Hey,
are
hold on,
insecure like
before
that.
Oh,
before
hold
you
on.
go, Bolo, please. It's
Yeah.
just quick. Black lexicon. I will have to study that, and I will definitely do a live on that. I saw your comment earlier. Hey, Scorched, but 84. Like, yes, I think even if it's you, whether you provide something financially, emotionally, whatever, the convenience of a thing, people can be selfish in that way and not be honest, right? Just because they like the convenience while the other party is suffering. And I
Okay,
think,
now may I respond to that?
yes.
Okay, so the response to that is it wasn't love.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It was convenience. And you said it. You didn't love that person. Okay.
That person
So
didn't love you. Yeah.
whatever. No, the person that he's saying that I don't want to lose that person because of the convenience that they brought me, you didn't
Mhm.
love that person. They were convenient. That's
Yeah.
what it was. Because again, in true love, there will be times I don't like you,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't change that I love you. There are plenty of times that God walked away from Israel, turned his back, but he was always there. There are plenty of times as parents, as uncles, we'll sit here and tell our children, yo, man, get out of here, go to your room. I'm not liking you right now. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna not support you. I'm not gonna not be there for you. I'm not gonna not cover you. I'm not gonna not be there for you. So it wasn't.
But is the party covering just in declaration, or are they really nurturing that thing? Because you can say all day, "Oh, I'm there," even though you may not feel it. But neglect is not
just
okay either.
just because you don't feel it don't mean that that person isn't covering you. Just because you don't feel it don't mean that that person don't love you. How many
But
times? Hold on.
okay,
How many times have you gone through something and said, God can't love me, and I'm going through this? How many times have we said that? Everybody on this panel and everyone in the chat can raise their hand. Why me? Why is all of this happening to me? So
I
just because, hold on,
okay.
just because we're going through something, just because someone is going through something in something doesn't mean that they don't love you. Love doesn't mean it's going to always be happy. This
That's
is
true.
our problem. We keep thinking that love is always happy. It's not. There are going to be times when we argue. There are going to be times when we don't see eye to eye. There are going to be times when we say, yo, listen, you know what? I'll talk to you tomorrow, man. I don't want to hear you right now. That don't mean I
Right.
don't love you.
Right.
So the point of the matter is we're dealing with two different situations. They may resemble the same. They may have certain similarities, but they're totally different. Someone happy,
Okay.
someone happy, and
Mm-hmm.
Joker. If you look at them far away, they both look like the same. But the Joker is a manic depressive. Okay? It's
Mm-hmm.
manic. Now, being a manic depressive shares certain similarities of being happy, but he's out of his mind. So a person being selfish and using as the example that 84 had, and someone loving, they both have certain similarities that they share, but they're totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't mean that just because that person was there for you 100% of the time, no one can be there for you 100% of the time, 100% of the time. Doesn't
Yeah,
work that way.
right. That's very true. Nobody can be there 100% of the time. I think we're speaking to, like, when 84 was talking, we're speaking to the shift that comes
84 was
with a
talking
lot
about
of
something
people.
totally different. 84 was talking about someone that is convenient. 84 was
Yeah.
talking about, but he was talking about someone that's convenient, someone that makes his life easier. He didn't love that person. That person made 84's life easier. And now when 84 sees something else that's more intriguing to his eye, He doesn't want to leave this because now I got to go into something new and figure that out when I have this convenience. But I don't want to deal with her thought process.
I understood.
But
with
she's
that part.
convenient.
Right, but I'm talking about him basically saying how people can be misleading, not being honest. Let's keep it real. That's also a thing when it comes to
absolutely that is.
Yeah.
Absolutely that is. I agree with you 100%. But I want to confine and be specific and compartmentalize what 84 was saying, because so often in conversations they get convoluted and they go left, right, up, down, and the conversation lost its root of why we're having the conversation.
Ebola, I was trying to be nice about it and coming in with a layup, and you came in with like the windmill slam dunk.
Absolutely.
This is the thing is, I'm laughing here because I'm like, this is me, because I can be, or I can come off as the most nicest person, but my kids will tell you there's some days where I'm like, okay, listen, if you, and my husband the same, I'm like, listen, we got to talk about this later, because if we continue down this road, someone's going to catch a case, and that is going to be me. You have
to say, sometimes you have to say, I might say something that's going to be disrespectful. So this is why the Lord tells you, be angry and sin not. He gives you the room to be angry. He tells you, yo, dude, you could be upset, cuss as much as you want. Don't cuss at the person, because what's going to happen is, listen, understand something. I can slap 84 and say with all sincerity, just an example, and with all sincerity,
What's up, Mo? How you doing, Mo?
With all sincerity, apologize to the brother, right? But that doesn't change the fact that I hit him. That doesn't change that fact. Right. So although I said something crazy to you, and then I sincerely apologize, it doesn't change the fact that you said the baby wasn't mine when you were angry. It doesn't change that fact.
So are you saying the person could be operating in unforgiveness? What if she sincerely apologizes for that?
I have to learn to forgive, but that's always going to be something in my mind. Just because you slap me and apologize doesn't mean that I don't feel that sting. So even though you may take me for DNA and I see that the child is mine, it opens up the door. This is why the Lord says, be angry and sin not. It opens up the doors to other thought processes. What else can this chick can say to me to make me pissed off? You could have died that day.
So why not confront that and let that person know, okay, so yes, I forgive you, but deep down, I'm still, I guess it's in the, so that person will never ever know how that affected you.
I have to be able to heal. I have to be able to heal before I can tell you. I have to be able to say to you, yo, listen, for me to be able to articulate how I am feeling and to tell you what I'm going through, I have to be able to articulate it to myself. So that means I have to process it and come up with the configuration, right? So I got the math. I'm doing the math. I'm trying to get the answer. You can't ask me for the answer when I haven't gotten the answer yet. I haven't gotten to that place where if I want to stay with you or not.
Yes.
Something like that to me, I might be like, you know what, Ma? Yeah, I know the baby is mine, but you know what? You're capable of saying things like that. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to go down that road with you, because if you can get upset and say something like that and tear my heart out and then say, nah, she is yours. Here's the DNA test. Nah, I don't like my heart being teared out because you're upset and pissed off. And nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it, because one day I may kill you.
So do you look at the root cause of why that may have been said outside of like the baby scenario? Like sometimes we only focus on the effect of a thing, but what caused it?
Of course, we have to deal with the cause. But right now we have to remember the thing that's in our face is the effect. The effect is in our face. It's going to take a minute to get to the root. We're not going to get to the root right then and there, because I have to deal with you punching me in my mouth and my tooth falling out. I got to deal with that. The hell with the reason why we got there. I'm dealing with you. Listen, it's asinine for me to think that after I call a woman a B and then give it a cure to cancer, that she's going to remember the cure to cancer. Okay? It's asinine for me to think that. She's going to be stuck on you called me a B.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is it takes a second for me to get to that cause after, the effect just hit me in my stomach.
So
Now-
doesn't it cause a lot of confusion, I guess, if the person says, oh, I forgive you for that, but deep down they're harboring, I guess, unforgiveness. So that can
But
even cause
Just because I forgive you don't mean I need
Sorry,
to.
can I just interject with that? I apologize, Polo. I know you're cooking, but the thing is that even the person that's committed the act is always quick. Well, the unrepented and person that's committed the act is always the one that wants to run and quickly say, look, you got to get over this. Why aren't you over this already? They're given a timestamp and how far they think you should have been in your anger or your limit of unforgiveness. They also have this picture painted of what their forgiveness should look like and what it should sound like, and the person that they've hurt's behavior should be like afterwards. It's a process. It takes time. Words cut deeper than what people think they do.
right.
They tell you, you know what they say? You lose trust in buckets, you gain it back.
Exactly. And as easily as it is, well, not easily, but it takes time to gain trust, and it can be broken with just a sentence.
And this is why the
From
Lord
I
tells
love
you,
you to I hate you.
Right.
I've grown my children up. I love you, but not just with words, but with action. But if tomorrow I wake up and I'm not showing I love you and I'm saying, listen, I hate you, it's going to do something to them, not just now. And even if I wake up the next day and I'm like, oh, okay, it's still going to hurt at some point. It might come up when they're 16. It might not come up now when they're 10 and 12 and 1. It might come up when they're 20. It might come up when they're 21. It might come up in how they treat their mother-in-laws. So I got to also be the one that must come into true repentance with them. I got to be like, listen, I know I've done something really, really wrong here. But at the same time, I can't put a timestamp on how you're going to speak to me afterwards or how you're going to handle me afterwards. I know one of the best things, and I'll land my plane with this, one of the best things my uncle once said to me when my father stepped back into my life when I was 12 or 13 was, okay, I'm not going to tell you how to speak to him. I'm not going to tell you to start calling somebody that is a stranger dad at the age of 12. I'm not going to do that with you. But what I am going to do is I'm going to remind you that you were raised a certain way. You were raised with respect. So treat him with the level of respect that you know he deserves in your book. And I was only 13. So I never called him dad. I never called him father. I called him Mr. Anderson or Mr. A. I treated him with a fair amount of respect. I stayed out of his path when I felt uncomfortable, even though to him it was like, okay, I've said sorry already. Like, why can't you just... But he had this idea of like, okay, happy family. No, listen, my guy, it's a whole lot of trauma that we haven't dealt with. The same way with how you can break somebody's trust in relationships, with children, with your, husband and wife relationship. It takes time to build that foundation again. And you can't put a timestamp on that. You can't hold somebody by a noose and say, okay, come on now, you got to behave some kind of way. You got to smile for all these pictures for social media because I said sorry.
And I always say the perfect marriage, because people say there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. And I tend to disagree. The perfect marriage is two people that are willing to stick it out and not leave, no matter what they go through. So when one keeps saying, I'm out, after a while, that one that keeps hearing I'm out is going to be like, cool, I'm done.
But does the person...
Hold on, let me finish.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter. There are certain things that should not be said. It doesn't matter. This is the point. You can't cuss God out and then come back, God, say, hey, Lord, my bad. Lord tells you blaspheming the Holy Spirit, you can't be forgiven for. So when you continue saying something, that's like me slapping my wife every day. And then when I walk in and I don't slap her, but she flinches, I get upset. What you flinching for? I ain't slap you. Well, dude, you slap me every day.
Yeah.
You understand? There are
Mhm.
certain things that should be off limits in relationships.
I agree.
No matter what you're going through, there are certain things that should be off limits. And one of those things, if you truly love each other, is the option of saying, I'm leaving. That should be off limits. I don't care what you're going through. That should be off limits, unless you truly feel that way. And that's what you want to do. Other than that, it shouldn't be an option. And that's the problem. This is why you have relationships in the 60s that's still married. You see old people as 185 years old still holding hands because there was never an option of getting out. We stuck together, you know. I ain't going nowhere. You stuck with me. I don't care what you did or how you spoke. We stuck together. There are certain things that are not said, and they both understand it and they work it out. That's
Right.
are we going to work it out? Okay, let's
So
work it out.
That's
yeah.
almost impossible
So I
now.
understand
So
that. But
sorry.
when y'all were talking about like how a person can respond or be, I guess, disrespectful, and I stated that we always focus on the effect of the thing and not the cause.
Mhm.
I guess both
That's
are
powerful.
equally
Important.
important when it comes to relationships, you know, and I think you have to say, okay, I see the effect of something, but you also have to say, I want to understand the cause. And that's not to say that you excuse the behavior, but you also have to understand that you can't ignore the pain behind that thing. Like,
Agreed.
oh,
But the point that I'm saying to you is we have to deal with the clear and present danger, right? In other words, if my house has a leak and it's burning, what do we
that's
do?
still one-sided, but I
But
hear you.
what I'm saying is if it's not one-sided, if I have a leak in the house and a fire, what are we attacking first, the leak or the fire? Mo?
The fire.
Why?
That's going to cause a danger much quicker.
It's gonna destroy the house. Now, once we get the fire contained, we can deal with the cause. We could deal with the cause because if we don't deal with the cause, it's going to continue happening, right?
Right.
And we don't want that to happen. But we have to deal with the effect first, right? Now,
Right.
sometimes you can simultaneously deal with both.
Mm-hmm.
You could simultaneously deal with both. But you have to deal with the issue that's at hand now. What's going on now? Let's handle that now and then deal with what the issue is. You know, where where the catalyst was, where the progenitor, where did it progenerate from? Where did it come from?
Mm-hmm.
Let's deal with that. I agree with you 100%, but there should be certain things that are off the table. And these are things that in relationships you should understand. If you're going to continue saying that I'm out, then go. Do you get what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that shouldn't be, if you truly love each other, that shouldn't be an option.
Right. And I
We're
get what
here
you're
to-
saying, but it
that's it. You
not
keep saying
let me speak. Let me
I'm
speak.
saying to you, but according to the scriptures, that's it.
I hear you. But
Okay.
what I'm saying is it kind of sounds one-sided because you're saying, okay, I'm out shouldn't be an option. Very true. But we have to examine the entire matter of a
So,
thing. If
but
that
just
person
negates
is not
everything you said. But negates
person
everything prior.
is not
But
loving
negates,
you according to Christ, you
but
get to
negates
you get what I'm saying? Like God
everything.
is a God of order. So
Right.
are you also doing your part, or are you just looking at the fact of what the other party should not be doing?
I'm going to say it again.
Equally say this thing.
I'm going to say it again because I didn't weigh it on any side. But you see, this is what women do. They look at it from their position. I didn't give you any perspective. I just said in a relationship, be it man or woman, Threatening to leave should not be an option.
Unless you're
If
getting
you
abused.
truly, right? I mean, come on, man. If someone's choking you and he's going to kill you, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But if you two truly love each other, this is love from God, not love of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving is not an option.
I agree.
That's the point. So there should never be a threat. Yeah, I'm going to leave. And after a while, if the man keeps saying that to the wife, after a while, the wife is just going to say, Duke, then bounce.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of hearing that. Every time we have an argument, every time we have a disagreement, that's what you use. Go.
Yes, I agree.
That's the point. So it's not whether it's on the man's side or the woman's side. That shouldn't be an option of leaving, right? Now, that's not negating that we still have to deal with the issues, the effect and the cause. What I'm saying is, in the rules of the game, there are rules. It's like Christ. He has parameters. Outside of these two parameters, inside of these two parameters, you could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of these two parameters is where you have the problem. So as long as you operate inside these parameters, you are Gucci, right? You operate outside, now we got a problem. And that's the issue. We have to operate inside the parameters. In the parameters, we can do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when we operate outside, now we got to sit back and go, hold on. Hold on. This is a problem now. This is an issue. This is why the Lord gave Israel a law. Within this laws, you could do whatever you want, as long as it ain't outside. Christ had to come and say, okay, man, all right, y'all guys, I'm going to give you grace now and mercy.
Mm-hmm.
But don't take my mercy and grace for weakness, my G. Don't do that. So there's a parameter in which we move, right? Even with your children. When they get upset and pissed off, there's a certain parameter you'll give them to express their pissosity.
Mm-hmm.
But when they go outside that parameter, I don't give a rat's behind about what you're upset with. Who the hell are you cussing at?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're not even dealing with the issue no more. We're dealing with your presentation. For example, what's your favorite food, Mo?
I have a few.
Give me one.
Ice cream.
Black folks love chicken.
Okay,
I love
chicken. Cool chicken.
Like,
If I took the chicken
right.
and gave it to you on a garbage can lid, would you eat it?
No.
Why?
Unsanitary.
Okay. If I took some new chicken that I cooked, not the same, and put it on the finest china I could find, would you eat it?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference?
Sanitary presentation.
That's it. So sometimes the point that you can have can be really valid, but if you present it as garbage, it's not going to translate the way you think it does. That's the point. Period. I wish I had a mic drop sound. I would have dropped it. But I think this will do.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's
that
the
was like
Okay, let me ask KMA a question. Hey KMA, if you could unmute real quick.
I am here in the middle of making rotis. I'm listening.
Okay, that's
I don't
nice.
know what Latiz is, but
I
it sounds
love
good.
KMA. I love your accent. Where are you from?
I am from South Africa, currently in KwaZulu-Natal, in a really small farm town called Eshore.
Oh, okay. That's cool, family. Okay, so
Do you make your rotis with curry?
okay, I feel you. That's nice. That's nice. I've had rotis though, to be honest. I'm Pakistani heritage though.
KMA, do you make your roti with curry?
Yeah, I normally make it with like a curry, but this morning my kids sometimes have it just plain because
Okay.
I make it nice and buttery, nice and soft. Sometimes they act crazy and they put some peanut butter inside. I don't understand it for the life
Ain't
of
nothing
me.
wrong with
Their
that.
father's, that's his blood. That got nothing to do with me.
Well, let me
Okay.
ask you a question, KMA. Um, did you feel that I answered your question concisely? I mean, I was I'm known to bloviate a little bit, and I defer to the science, and I know a lot of people they're not avid readers, but I was wondering if um, I answered your question appropriately.
Oh, Riaz, stop flexing.
So,
Stop. You
okay,
gotta
so
stop that.
still,
Sorry. Sorry to answer you, Brandon. Yes, I do understand from your scientific point view, and from a knowledge point view. I mean, I love whoever's chopped it up with me. Well, a best knows. Uh, I love knowledge like the next person because I am a writer. I'm an
yeah,
author, so I love facts. I love fact finding. I love digging into those things. But at the same time, also on that pursuit, I also understand what it's like to apply, what's on paper to real life and what works and what doesn't work. And I love testing out the theory. I
right. So
love
still, okay,
testing it out.
so
So
still,
in that
man.
sense, some of what you said I could see working. Some I don't necessarily would agree to say I can't see myself applying when it comes to certain things, because I know from personal experience what works and worked for me with mental and
Well,
emotional
anecdotal experience is not
issues.
science. We
Sorry, I
can't, we
didn't.
can't. Yeah, anecdotal experience is not science. It's not a credible source to believe. So, if I tell you one blade of grass is brown, we have a general idea of the grass being green. Uh, does that mean that the grass isn't green just because of this one statistical anomaly? See, that's how personal experiences work. Because just because one person has a perception of difference in this large myriad of people with all of their own individual experiences, we can't say that we can't use that as uh, to be statistically significant. It requires um, an average of over 95% to be statistically significant. So basically, we have to look at society on a grander scale. Um, Dr. I'm sorry, Professor C. Wright Mills said, in order to understand society, all of the smaller parts of society, we have to understand society in its entirety. So that's how we need to look at things.
Mm-hmm.
But I was wondering if you could steel man basically what I said to you in regards to your relationship. Like to steel man means to paraphrase what I said to you. I want this is a Socratic means of helping you to understand what I'm telling you. So what I want you to do is understand, the process of healing trauma and how it is a process.
Yeah, I was really asking for a lot of the points and tips that are mentioned in the space are things that I apply. And again, best knows me. I think the best on this panel, because he's spoken to my husband and I privately, and we've done a lot of lives together. But um, there's so much privately that he knows that even with the points that you guys had spoken about are things that we've applied and we are applying in our 11 years. Doesn't mean it's been easy. As Bolo even mentioned, some days I just don't like you, and that's something we also made very clear to someone some
Mm-hmm.
years back, when they were like, you guys have such a good understanding and you look so good together. Like, this was not us like 2 years back. This was not us a year ago. We learning. Um,
Okay, so that
and
wait a
the
minute,
thing
wait a
is
minute.
Hi, Uncle Fatty.
what I'm trying to
Hello,
also get at
are you
is that
there?
the
Okay, go ahead.
understanding of also, sorry, the understanding of also what you had mentioned, especially also with the understanding of the dynamics of relationship. And note, I don't just ask questions just for my personal application. I also ask questions for generalization, because I know there's others that will come across these, and I want every interaction that for myself have to be helpful for also the next person, even if it means I got to expose my heart, scars, and everything else, the good, the bad, and the ugly, just to help somebody else heal. So now, when I asked the question to the room, was basically to also get some points that will help other men, women, possible people that maybe even also want to get married, also into understanding what we got to do to be better for also the next person. And the points that you gave were very, very helpful. And it also helped me, sorry about the truck. It helped me tick the boxes of like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm also doing, I'm doing pretty good. This year we're winning, Kim. We're not failing the understanding test of what my husband's processes, and constantly creating a peaceful space. So you really hit a lot of things on the head.
Well, yeah, here's what I suggest. Just like a lot of people, we just do not have the proper education. This is no indictment on you or anybody else on the panel. But we don't have the proper education to deal with these things. We need, I mean, I don't know how many people often consult or look at, actual clinical data of um, how these are social dynamics, and how the brain works in these social environments. And they don't know about the hundreds of years that we've been studying phenomena such as trauma. And I think it's important for us to crack open a book or two and just read about these things, and you know educate ourselves on how our partners, and understand that gives a, a way better understanding of some of the things that they're going through, and some of the things that you will incur in your relationships. The big trend is this attachment style and attachment theory, and everybody's like all the big YouTubers are talking about that in their videos now. But yeah, this stuff hasn't been deleted out of our National Library of Medicine. So I think everybody needs to defer to that, and look at some of that clinical data about it. And hey, we might be able to understand what our partners are going through. We might be able to understand the fact that we cannot solve our emotional trauma and our mental illnesses by ourselves. We have to use therapy, behavioral cognitive therapy, not just medicines. And we have to pray. We got to get on our knees and pray, give it to God.
Yes.
So just everybody remember that if you have emotional trauma, especially in your childhood, then it's time to hit that therapist up. Go to your primary care physician, and he will refer you to a therapist in your area. Make sure he's good, he or she is good. You can often pick the sex. The sexes are different when you pick your therapist, and that's what we need to do.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Can the Holy Spirit be your therapist too? Because
Yeah.
that's the
Not
route I've
just that.
decided.
No,
to
hold
take.
up. Stop the show. Stop the show. We have to be practical about we can't just read everything in the Bible and not do it. We have to, faith without works is dead. We have to be practical about it. You can pray. You can pray. Yeah, that works. But you need to step over to that the clinician too.
Well, the
I
Holy
mean,
Spirit,
it
the
says
Holy
that.
Spirit will guide you. The Holy Spirit will guide you to, to where you need to be in that aspect.
Exactly. Like I
So,
right.
it may not be clinical. It could be a loved one. It could be someone that spiritually guides you in things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Or it could
Yeah.
be like what my man Nesbitt saying, clinical therapist. You know what I'm saying? Wherever the
Yeah.
Spirit leads you. But I just want to say, man, I'm a dipset. I got to break out. Nesbitt, reach out to me. We got to finish talking. Mr.
Yeah,
Best,
man. I promise you, I will call you this week.
no doubt, my G. 84, Soap, whatever name you going by today, my G. I'm a holler. Riaz, is always good to hear you, my man.
Same here, man.
And
Okay.
Jay Zhang, it's awesome to hear you from Africa. It's good to, good questions. Mo Love, thank you for having me. Thank you for having the show. Love you all, guys. Love you. All right.
Oh,
Peace.
okay.
Love you,
Africa.
Shalom.
I was
All
gonna
right,
say.
thank you. I'm gonna end soon, but if y'all wanted to continue to give your thoughts,
Okay.
your
Yeah.
final thoughts, I
Let
guess.
Okay.
let me wrap up what I was saying.
So
You listen,
if
if
I
you
add
have
something quickly, though,
listen,
then
if
I'm.
you have go ahead, Riaz.
So basically, I was gonna say, yeah, I kind of agree though. I see how both ways. Yes, you can pray. Yes, have faith. Yes, you have to do all of that. Faith without works is dead though. Yeah, you're right though. I agree with you. Also, God tests those who helps, and also God helps those who helps themselves. So yes, you're supposed to pray and do all that though, and God will help you. But you're the one who's supposed to go out and seek that help at the same time, because it's actually
Thank
practical
you.
as well. So it's not just like yes. I totally agree with you. Yes, you have to pray on that though, and God is gonna help. Also, God wants you to actually help yourself at the same time. Because yes, God can help you at any time, and God can get rid of it instantly. But at the same time, wants you to realize though, look, I know you have faith, but I want you to actually, just work that out on your own as well. To actually, that's like a reinforcement of faith as well. When you actually, it's like a
Exactly. That's what I'm
reinforcement and
saying.
a test. It's a test. Think of life as a test, basically. Think of it like that. So your life is a test, and God wants you to actually go through that test and go through trials and tribulation. He's like He's testing you, though. It's a test or a punishment depending on your deeds. But when you do that test, God will help you. But at the same time, wants you to figure it out on your own at the same time. So that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen, if that juicy piece of chicken on that China plate, I can be as hungry as just hungry as ever. If I don't reach my hand out to grab that piece of chicken, it ain't going to my mouth. If we can pray and pray on these different types of issues, I can pray to get better, like I did. I was praying for better mental health, but it was until I actually started taking steps to heal my mental health. Faith without works is dead.
Well, that's
We must be
that's why
practical
the
and
Lord says,
pragmatic
well,
about.
to
Yeah,
KMA, that's why God says, bear one another burdens. Forsake ye not the assembly of one another. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why those scriptures are there. Because again, you can share, you may have someone that's in your circle that is a therapist, or someone that is into mental illness and into counseling and things of that nature. So again, man was never meant to be alone. When I say man, I mean both men and women. The Lord set it up where we need each other. So, he set it up that way. So
That's
when
true.
you're saying that can I pray the Holy Spirit? Holy Spirit ain't gonna sit with you and say, okay, Kimberly, let me tell you something, man. What you did here, it may give you what the Holy Spirit, it gives you insight.
Right.
It gives you insight, it leads you, and it lets you work it out, because the lesson is for us to learn, not the Holy Spirit, right? So we have to learn the lesson. So it may give you insight to say, you may need to go through that door, Kimberly. And then, you'll figure out how you need to get to that door and what that door presents itself and so forth and so on. But the Lord wants us to deal with each other. That's the way he set it up.
Right.
True.
Which
So,
is it?
so hold on real quick. Relationship talk. Do y'all know relationship talk?
I would tell you,
No, I haven't heard of them.
put the overlay.
I don't know.
Put the over.
They wrote in the back chat. Okay, let me see.
I don't know.
Let me see what they wrote. I am cleaning right now. Figured.
Hi.
Tap in.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. I follow you, so I follow you directly on Instagram, and I saw your live on there. I said, "Oh, okay, she's on YouTube right now." So that's why I figured out what tap in. And what y'all talking about is kind of similar to a conversation I was having earlier with somebody texting, but I wanted to get on somebody's cam and just actually talk about it. Y'all kind of like talking about what I was trying to talk about earlier.
I guess you said you follow me on IG because I
follow you on Instagram, and I saw you was live on Instagram, but you're actually live through StreamYard. So I'm like, oh, okay, she's on YouTube. So that's why I tapped in. I was watching your live from Instagram, and then I came.
I'm not live on.
That's me. I'm live on Instagram. It's me.
Oh, you are. Okay. So do you?
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's how I saw it.
Salute, brother. Salute.
So is it safe? I guess it's safe.
Yeah, but we right now what we're doing is we giving right now at this point we giving final thoughts. You know
Yeah,
we were. We
started like over 3 hours ago.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. I know it's late.
But did you want to give your thoughts, or I guess before we end?
So what I wanted to say, like in general, well, first and foremost, I'm a God as a man. I'm a God-fearing Christian, right? I grew up in the church. Grandmother raised, and you know, all of my elders, you know, they're pretty much gone now, but I'm 33, and I could tell you this.
I don't know why. I'm sorry. So,
can you hear me?
Do y'all think it's cool or?
Yeah. Let keep the overlay up, but let him finish. Keep the overlay up. Let him finish. Go ahead.
One thing I learned from my grandmother, she said about my mom. She says she may not be the best or the brightest, but stick by her side. I didn't understand what she meant by that until like years later. And what I learned from that was, you know, when you're walking into this thing called faith, it's a really hard thing for people to maintain within themselves. You know, a lot of people don't know how to love the yays and love the nays accordingly, because they don't understand the love and the faith and the journey that they have to walk with themselves. And when it pertains to myself, I know how to hold everyone accountable, including my mother. So me as a Christian, I learned that this is my perspective. Maybe I may differ, but I don't need a physical church. I don't need a physical church building, right? To carry the faith and the God that's in me. I don't need a church building for that. You know, they teach, we go to church. If you go to church, you go to church once a week, but we're supposed to carry that the other 6 days of the week, right? So I learned to love. I learned to give respect first, but I also learned to hold people accountable for reciprocation. Is that kind of like what y'all were talking about?
It kind of, but what we were talking about was how trauma affects relationships, and how at times, you know, one person can be going through something and not really taking into consideration what the other is going through. So you got a lot of noise in your background, brother.
Sorry about that. So let me just come right here.
What we're trying to do is bring clarity to understanding that sometimes if a man is going through something, it has nothing to do with the woman. It's just him going through whatever he's going through, and vice versa. If a woman is going through something, it has nothing to do with you, and there's no need for us to take it personal. Because a lot of times when people go through things in relationships, because they're unable to identify the triggers in someone else going through a trauma, at times they make it personal, and it kind of pushes that person that's going through the actual trauma in which what they're going through. It kind of pushes each other back, and it kind of has that merry-go-round where I'm going through something, but because you're unable to articulate my triggers, it makes you think that it's because of you, and vice versa, and it just continues to repel each other, opposed to saying, maybe it's not about me. Let me sit down and talk to my woman and see what's going through her mind and understand. It may look like it's about me in the way she's pulling away and such, but that just may be the way she deals with the issue. So that's what we would do.
Are these I want to like put out some variables, like to ask a question. Are these like variables? Are these like triggers that that your partner discovered long into the relationship, and and you just figure like what's going on? I didn't see this type of a pattern before, or is this something that this person had like off rip they knew about, and maybe this person should not have stepped into another person's life still holding these trauma that they have not addressed within?
It can be all that. It could be all
There's
that.
a good article.
Sometimes you may go into a situation knowing that a woman, let's say if a woman has been raped, you may go into that relationship knowing, right? And then sometimes you may touch her a certain way or say something to her that may be reminiscent of what that guy or gal that did that to her, and it triggers something. So we're talking about trying to understand the mind frame and the triggers of where that person, be it man or woman, is coming from, so that you don't take it personal. It's because they're going through something.
Right. Sometimes
let me just add something.
Go ahead.
A lot of people don't understand the psychology behind trauma, and they are unable to identify these psychological traumatic events in their relationships. This is why I encourage us to educate ourselves on that way we can acknowledge these psychological triggers, because it does affect relationships. And one of the things we can that will help us in our future relationships is understanding our attachment styles. You just do a basic Google of attachment theory. You can see how it's a very powerful psychological framework to understand your mind and how you may deal with, not just your partner, but you may deal with trauma or any kind of obstacles in the relationship. But yeah, man, watch, do yourself a favor, go back and watch this program over again, and you may be enlightened to and see some things you've never seen in your relationship.
Yeah, there's a lot of information that was given. A lot of
I will definitely.
It was. Thank y'all so much.
I will definitely, and I'm gonna subscribe to your YouTube as well.
Thank you so much. I
Absolutely.
appreciate it. The live is very informative.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be up all night. I'm actually cleaning my podcast studio right now, so that's actually what I'm doing. That's why I was like, I can clean and talk a little bit.
Okay. Well, I'm normally live. We're normally live every Sunday at 10:30 p.m. Central Time.
Okay.
So final thoughts, everyone.
That's awesome. I find out was a good conversation. Hope everyone enjoyed the stream.
Someone has it. Hold on, Riaz. Someone has their. Everyone can mute. Let Riaz talk because we're getting feedback.
Okay.
Go ahead, Riaz.
Okay. All right. 3, 2. Okay. So basically, the final thought is that everyone else. I hope everyone else enjoyed the stream. Make sure to do your research before you take out anything from the stream, and also remember to leave a like, comment, share, and connect to the host. Connect to everyone else with the creator here. Help us grow, inshallah, God willingly. God willingly, help us grow, and basically share this out to everyone out. And basically, yeah, man, I'm done.
Thank you so much, Riaz, for your support and your input. I appreciate you always.
So relationships. Let's get your last thoughts.
Who? Oh
Well,
yes, let the take the banner thing down.
yeah.
So my last thoughts, I'll just not too much. Is this is more so of a note taking because I came in really late.
Mhm.
I just want to just say I appreciate y'all letting me come up here. I'm going to rewind this and go back to the beginning so I can get a concept of what y'all talk about in general and what this was about. And then next time I'll try to catch y'all on the beginning and come with a little a little more informed.
Okay, well, I appreciate you so much. And be sure, to tune back in whenever you can.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Have a
Thank
blessed night, my G.
you.
You
Blessed
too.
night. Who wants to go next? Final thoughts. KMA 84.
I love
Brandon.
the banner. That's all I'm gonna say. I love that banner.
My sister
That thing
made
came
that. Thank you.
real quick. I love it. Well, my final thoughts is just I love that you guys are having such good, wholesome conversations. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very educational, insightful, as well as not for just everyone on the panel, but um, for others that are also going to come back and listen to this. So we just I pray that you guys continue to have such awesome dialect, and dialogue on here because not everyone can have these topics
Mm-hmm.
and discussions without people knocking heads too much so
Right.
and turning ugly. That's why I've actually stepped away from hopping on these many spaces
Mhm.
because I don't want to mess myself up spiritually. I don't want to feel some kind of way because I've been cleaning up my house, meaning my heart, my mind, my spiritual,
Mhm.
my spirit man. So that's why I don't really hop on these spaces. But it was really good because I even walking away from this, I still feel good. There's some
Good.
pointers I know I'm gonna go back and I'll try and brush up
Mhm.
on. And yeah, even though as I said, we don't all agree with everything being said, but we respect each other enough to say, okay, cool, that worked for you, this worked for me. I'll educate myself on the matter a little bit, but then it's all good as long as we're on the process of healing and coming out better. So those are just my final thoughts.
Thank you so much, KMA. I appreciate your input, your wisdom, for being so transparent. And if you could come back next Sunday, we'll be live at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. I know
That would
you're
be my Monday morning, so I'm sure I'll be available.
okay. Yay. Well, I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much.
Hey,
Um, 80.
KMA, like,
Oh,
oh, go ahead, 84.
whoever wanted to go.
I'll
Brandon,
go.
go ahead,
Or
bro.
go ahead, 84. Okay.
No, go ahead, go ahead, go
Um,
ahead.
okay, yeah. I just wanted to ask KMA what were her disagreements because I did provide a large basis of empirical data um, to back up what I was trying to elucidate in regards to the aspect of trauma. So, what were some of the things that you disagreed with?
I think it comes back to, well, for me, because remember we're on different sides of the globe. It comes back to a cultural difference, right? I am colored, or mixed race in
Yeah, we
within South
colored too.
Africa, right? So
Brandon
yeah,
is
I know. I mean, but that's like a derogatory term on your side. On my side, that's on my ID book. If I commit a crime on the news, they'll say that colored girl, Kimberly KMA Brown, she did it. So on your
Okay, so
news,
what were your
it's very different.
disagreements?
But the thing is as I said, the disagreements and this comes off on a lot of other platforms as well, and not just with you. But and I hope I don't get shot for this, but I've said it before as well on a private space to someone is you guys are all in the US, right? I would assume.
Mhm.
Right,
Okay.
except for
So
Riaz.
Okay, you guys are more information based, right?
Right.
And it's always, not always, but more of a stats and information and the science and all the paperwork behind it. And that is all fair and well. As I said, I don't refute it, because I love to also educate myself on certain subject matters that I don't know of. I'm also a teacher. Well, was a teacher, but and I've been doing it for many years. So I love to educate myself on some new things, even as a writer, right? Because I
Yeah.
don't know everything. But at the same time, when it comes to certain things, when I look at it culturally for myself, what has been applied, where I'm at, we don't just stats. We're not just statistics kind of people, especially here in my small hometown. It's more of, okay, let's see what works and what doesn't work. And with the newer generation like myself, yeah, we will maybe go into the science a little bit and try and as I said, I don't refute also seeking help from a counselor or psychologist. That's good for some people. It will work. For my personal experiences, writing was my best outlet for the healing process, right? That's personal experience. I don't want to disassociate myself from things because sometimes when we speak about some topics or subject matters, we disassociate ourselves with, which then also doesn't help somebody that's listening relate to a subject matter. I always want to be part of something where I can say, oh, I relate to that. I can talk about it because I've been through the experience. If I haven't been through the experience, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, that's new. I'll hear about it, I'll listen to it. I don't know if I'll try it. I'll read up on it, but then I'll make my own assumption afterwards, right? So which is why I say I can say, okay, cool, yeah, reading of the word, cool, prayer, I'm with you, brother. Um, the full on use of maybe medical medication within the healing process, I'm gonna be like, woo, wait, okay, maybe that can work for someone else, but not for me. So that's why I say there's some things we can agree on, when it comes to the use of science with the healing process of the mind, the body, the emotion, the emotional growth. Even the Kimberly that's talking to you now was not the Kimberly that was this person that I'm grounded in right now. I might seem very wise, but I was not this way. And even now, I'm still crying out to the Lord for wisdom. And wisdom also came from personal experiences because of some things that I had to go through, right? And also understanding that some things are spiritual, which is also going to make me understand that science is not going to help me deal with the spiritual aspect of depression and anxiety that I had to face personally. I had to understand that
Right.
some things
You.
were demons and I had to attack them spiritually. I also had
Mhm.
to understand that as much as, yes, the Holy Spirit will give me guidance, but he'll lead me to all things because that's what his word said. He guides you through all things, he leads you to all things. I still, yes, got to make the action. I still got to take the step. I still got to make the moves. I still, like now, I still got to get up. I still got to do some things while my husband rests and enjoys his rest, getting ready for his night shift. I still got to get up. I still got to be my role and play my role as a mom, as a wife, as a helpmate. Because that's also what I'm praying for now. Is my next prayer is like, okay, Lord, help me be a better helpmate. It was
Mhm.
first help me to be better for me, right?
Right.
And it was help me to be better, Lord, just in general for society, because I don't want to kill everybody or shoot everybody because I'm in my feelings. But now also because I'm more grounded in the process of writing, helped me overcome depression and anxiety. Writing and a relationship with God. First, writing helped me overcome it when I was in the world. And then when I came to Christ, writing helped me and Christ main source helped me overcome the demonic forces behind anxiety and depression. So which is why I say there is a I won't say a difference, but there is a small subject matter of differences when it comes to those things, because I'll go back and be like, okay, but Lord, this is how I overcame this. I know it's not going to be for everyone, But this is how I overcame depression, because I understood it was voices speaking to me. There were voices telling me I'm not good enough. There were voices telling me, and I know there's probably a name for it as well. Maybe I'll go and figure it out. Maybe I won't. But I overcame that by the word and by questioning and filtering all those things out, by bringing every thought into obedience to the word of God, and be like, that's not the right thought. That, like, now I filter those thoughts out, not because of medication, but because of being grounded in First Corinthians 13, and also eating off of the word and not just living off of bread alone, by fasting, by working on my relationship with Jesus. So this is why I say there is a thing of like, okay, yeah, I agree with you. Some people really do, you need something to calm you down and get you to, because some people can be too erratic and they need something to calm down medically. But then again, at the same time, because of where my relationship is now with Christ, with my family, with myself, with my husband, I have control over my emotions, because the word of God says take captive of also that, and also filter out your heart. And not every thought and every emotion is from God. The heart is deceptive. So I got to stop myself as a child of God that is rooted in the word, and be like, heart, come on. My children sometimes think I'm crazy, because I'm like, heart, you're being deceptive. You're being deceptive. Sharon is not ignoring you on purpose. He's also dealing with some things. That's why even when Bolo was talking about how some females feel rejected when a man is quiet, I'm like, oh, that hit home, because I know what it feels like. And I've had to filter out emotions and things that are in my heart, because my heart could be deceptive and be succumb to the flesh and be like, oh my gosh, he's not talking to
Hey,
you.
KMA,
Okay, so
KMA, I just asked one question, but I thank you for your whole autobiology.
The thing is, I had to break it down the way, because
Yeah, she broke it down clearly. She broke it down clearly.
Yeah,
Making
let's
sure-
go ahead and land that plane, though. Good
Nah,
Jesus.
go ahead. So,
I ain't riding in the car with you.
Nah, Nesbitt, give your last thoughts, brother. Go ahead, your last thought.
Okay. All right. Well, I love each and every one of y'all dearly.
Love
I
you too.
yeah, I do think that I'm very sensitive and aware and cognizant of the phenomenon that trauma affects women twice as much as it does men. The data shows that, even though KMA doesn't believe that data, supposedly. I'm just playing. But yes, I do believe, that science is the way we heal the mind. As KMA said, she has her own different ways of dealing with trauma in her life. That's cool. Everybody has their own way of, they have their own responses to dealing with trauma. And I think that's good. If you can heal the trauma in your life through whatever you do in your, to, that could be spa treatments, ASMR. That's what a lot of people do. But, understand that we have to be pragmatic and practical at healing the mind. And this, this, we need to understand that a lot of the trauma that we incur happens in childhood as well. And we have to understand our attachment styles and how that will manifest itself into our relationships as adults. So I think it's important for everybody to educate themselves as much as possible on, human psychology, especially in regards to relationships. I believe that if we were a little bit more educated in our relationships, we wouldn't see the divorce rate being so high, because, we just have such this whole battle of the sexes thing. And, I think
Mhm.
that's what's red pill talk is so centered around. But yeah, landing my plane, I think that, talks like these are just one step of many to deal with and elucidate the phenomenon of trauma
Mhm.
on in our personal lives and relationships. So those are my thoughts.
All right, 84.
Um, thank all of y'all for being up here. I love all of y'all. Um, this was a great stream. A lot of thoughts and perspectives were shared. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about all of this. And even in the midst of our differences or our um, our ways of thinking, we can always come to an understanding. So that's good. But also, if you're dealing with trauma, depression, any of those things of that nature, always do what you can to reach out and to and to basically seek help. You know, Bola, I
Thank
know you.
you. Get
Bola,
therapy.
yes, Bola, I know you. I know you got the numbers in the back. As always, you know you got all the numbers. So if you could just throw those numbers in the chat real quick, if you don't mind. Um, you know what I mean? So yeah, please seek help if need be. Spiritually or otherwise, and yeah. Um, I mean, you had to make me go last, man. I didn't want to go last, but it's all good. But love y'all. Appreciate you. Um, I mean, you already know what it is. KMA, good to see you, family. Glad you're up here. And tell the hubby and the kids I said what's up as well. But yeah, love all of y'all. And Bolo, I'm gonna call you back too. I'm not been busy.
Please.
I'll call you back.
All
You know what I
right.
mean? And Mo, keep up the shorts too, Mo. You know what I mean? Let's go,
Oh,
Mo. Keep up the
no,
shorts.
thank you. And
They
thank you so
bomb.
much for your input, for your continued support. I appreciate each of you. All
Absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
All right.
I think Mo Love shorts can cure depression because Mo Love, you ain't that bad looking of a person.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, thank y'all. It's been a great live. So remember, never try to hide in your trauma. It will keep you stagnant. Keep God at the forefront. Seek therapy, whatever resources are available to help. I recommend those, and just be encouraged. Um, and always keep in mind you were never created to just live in survival mode, and don't ever think that you are too complicated or too much or too broken to be healed. And I pray that this live has been a blessing to everybody. Any final thoughts, Bolo?
Well, yeah, you just listen, keep God as your center, not first. God wants to be the center of your life. He wants to be involved in everything. And take care of yourself and each other. That's it.
All right. Uncle Fatty said drop some links.
Nah, brother.
Please
We've been up
feel
here
free
for
to
4 hours.
subscribe. But if you go back and watch, it's streamed from my channel, Mo Love. But I appreciate each of you so much. Have a blessed night. We'll be back next Sunday night, 10:30 p.m. Central Time. Bye, guys.
See y'all later.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.